Welcome to the Onside Podcast, a podcast on innovation-driven entrepreneurship. Join us on this journey as we amplify the power of disruptive ideas. Well, this season, we had some really great guests, and there are a lot of really interesting moments that stood out for me. We had an amazing guest that was on, Avery. She runs Camp Tech. She's a leader in AI and digital adoption and skills, and she's really working to democratize the way AI is benefiting people.
In the context of learning, in the context of wanting to, again, help play a small part in bridging that gap, in bridging that divide between the people that have technology and are using it to grow bigger companies, do bigger stuff, and those that don't know how to wield it. I was like, that's where I'm going to insert myself. Because I've got this one part of me that's a little bit in that world and knows, like, I know how they do things, and then I can kind of steal it and take it over here and share it with other people. And frankly, that's what Camp Tech does. The way that we do it is through really practical tech education. And these days, that means it's a lot of AI education. Because in the last couple of years, with the rise of generative AI tools like ChatGPT, you no longer have to be a computer scientist to be able to, use artificial intelligence and kind of mold it to what you want it to do. Now there's a beautiful moment where AI really can help. And we have all this data that shows that when you harness generative artificial intelligence in a business, you can increase productivity, you can build capacity, you can do so much more. That is a wonderful moment. And I want to make sure that people aren't left behind in that revolution. Of course, with all of those benefits, there also comes a lot of risk. There's a lot of concern around AI. So not only am I, like, I'm not an AI hype girl. I'm not here to just be like, rah, everybody needs to use AI. I see the potential. I also see the risk. And I want to do everything we can to help people try and reap the rewards, but still adopt AI ethically in a way that aligns with their values.
She's thinking about, where do people go to get the information that they need to improve their businesses and their skills? And she's really thinking about how to steal knowledge from the knowledge keepers and really where it's being hoarded and share it with other people so that small women-led companies, value-driven businesses, not-for-profits, can grow and have these skills that are really going to help their business grow, but really kind of on their own terms.
This is a gross generalization, but and I believe there is probably some data that backs this up. I believe I've seen some from the Women's Entrepreneurship Knowledge Hub that women entrepreneurs tend to have smaller organizations, which means that they have less headcount, less people to do everything. So I know even in my women-led small business, I will be writing emails that I probably shouldn't be writing. I will be doing admin tasks that I probably shouldn't be doing. It's low-hanging fruit. It's the kind of stuff that I can pretty easily, just send off to a bot to do. But the key thing about generative AI is that you always have to have a moment where you check it. You always have to be checking its work. You have to verify its accuracy. So anything that is repetitive, anything that you find you do more than once, anything that you can kind of turn into even just a little mini kind of like a standard operating procedure. It'll be like, we do this step, then this step, then this step. All of those situations are ripe for AI and automation. At first, it's slow to build out a system. But the whole point of systems is you go slow so then you can go fast once you have systems and workflows.
Thinking about AI as a business partner was something that really came out for me this season. Also, we had Jen Harper. She was fantastic. She really resonated with me. Her origin story of thinking about 3 young girls, Indigenous girls, with lip gloss on their lips, looking fabulous. It was almost kind of, mythic.
I had a dream, literally pop out of bed middle of the night, and it was just so evident to me, like this was going to be the next thing that I was going to do. As crazy as that sounds, like a dream of 3 native little girls covered in lip gloss. All I remember is their brown skin and rosy cheeks, and literally then spent the next 2 years before we launched an e-commerce store learning what kind of products we could bring into the world and what
And
would
she
look like?
wanted to see Indigenous women and girls reflected in the beauty industry. And she developed this amazing company, Cheekbone Beauty. She's using the 7 grandfather teachings and really taking that into how she structures her business. We also had Nadia, who has this amazing company that's based here in Halifax. She's doing something that's changing the way that we interact with technology and putting heart health literally in your back pocket.
The only thing that you need is the phone. So you press the smartphone to your chest, and Stetaphone will listen to your heart sound, will record, and then make an analysis. In only 20 seconds, you will know if you have any murmurs, if you have any rhythmic issues. Uh, Two most popular symptoms, the most important symptoms of your heart sound.
Mm-hmm. And so you just hold.
So you just hold your.
I'm going to pretend that I have one, and I just like on my skin, not on my shirt, but you just hold it up to your chest,
Just hold it.
and for 20 or 30 seconds, and
You
it'll.
will press the record button, and in 20 seconds, it will make an analysis.
And so you have an app that does that.
That is an app called Stetaphone, and it's available to download on Apple Store right now.
Okay.
And it's an official medical device registered by
She and her
Health
team got together. They weren't even sure they could do it. They gave themselves like a window of time, six months, to try to figure out how to develop a product, see if it was going to work, and then use that 6-month window to experiment and test things out, and then try it and make this product. One of their success stories that stood out for me was that they had a physician try out their product, and the physician was able to detect a heart murmur in a patient on the spot who actually needed to go for surgery.
I remember the first patient that was made us understand that this is all worth it, even for that one person. There was this older man who came to the doctor, and they did all the tests, and for some reason they thought he's okay. He was just older, and then they used Stetaphone just to give it a try, and they found the murmur they didn't hear before. They sent him for extra tests, and he had the surgery almost right after.
Oh, wow.
So I literally can say that his life was saved.
Yeah.
And that made us understood that this is all worth it. This is all why
We
we're
also had
doing this.
Lisa. She has an AI-powered diagnostic tool for leadership development. She made a big distinction around using AI and data to inform the way that leadership shows up. But making sure that, we're using that 80-20 rule for AI, 80% of the way, you can get there with AI. 20% of the way, you really need to have that human touch. You need to have that context.
That 20% gap. I always say in what I've been learned along the way, that AI can get you to 80%. The other 20% has to come from that human wisdom piece or that contextualization. And so we add that in. And so the clients know that we've weighed in with our oversight and expertise to bridge that gap. The big enterprise clients that we deal with still haven't fully adopted or integrated it. What I would say is that they know that there is a future with it. They're not sure of what it looks like. And even within our team, we get frustrated when AI is so wrong. Yet there is a knowledge piece that the efficiency you can't argue with. So we often talk about AI being, we have an enterprise subscription, and everybody has their own subscription or own account within there. That the AI is one of our team members, and there are functions for AI to play. And it's specific.
Obviously, Larissa and Lauren were fantastic from DLM, Dream, Learn, Manifest. I love just their name. I think that one of the things that they're really thinking about is the importance of building culture that makes sense, holding leadership accountable, and giving them the skills.
So as leaders, how do we step up and ensure that we're living and behaving the way that we want as an organization? And to quote one of our mentors, whom you've had on here before, I think, if you don't define the culture as leadership
it will define itself by default. And that's not necessarily going to be a good thing. So being really clear on your purpose, your vision, your mission, those values, and then how do you put them into practice every single day? What does it look like? What does it look like in performance evaluations? What does it look like on the day to day? How are we living that and ensuring that we are fostering and growing that culture that we believe in and that we want to have
There's a
there.
lot of opportunity and great things happening around the status of women entrepreneurs, especially in innovative sectors in Canada. We had so many great people, creating a med tech company, beauty brand, AI-powered businesses and companies, all of those kinds of things. We saw a lot of interesting variety. And one of the things that we're seeing with women entrepreneurs in Canada is that we have the audacity, we have the impact that we want to make, we have the gravitas in the ambition of making these things happen. And women in Canada are striving through difficult situations to overcome barriers, to build these businesses and grow prosperity for themselves and for their communities. We still have barriers, whether it's funding, whether it's going into sectors where you're not usually seen. But we see that Canadian women really want to build thriving, dynamic, interesting, productive businesses that uplift their communities and are shifting the ecosystem. And that was the other thing. I really felt that the women that are here, that are showing up, are really also thinking and changing the face of what entrepreneurship and innovation actually look like. So that was something that was really exciting and interesting to me when I got to sit down with all of the amazing guests that we had this season.